Now, speaking of societal or civilizational collapse, it's when a gradual downward trend goes into unstoppable decline, out of control, irreversible. And it turns out that collapse is a process, it's not an event. Here's the example of industrial civilization, or what William Catton called Homo colossus, last 270 years. The stability of the biosphere has been in decline for centuries and in unstoppable, out of control runaway mode for 2 to 7 decades. And 7 decades ago is 1950. And that's usually where you see all these charts. It usually sort of goes hockey stick at 1950. And in terms of abrupt climate change, like 10,000 years of climate change in half a human lifetime, that went into runaway mode somewhere between 1985 and 2000, depending upon who you're listening to. So this is known as the Great Acceleration. And we often mistakenly think that it means accelerating, like things are getting better. Well, no, every single thing we depend upon. There's nothing that humans depend upon, or other mammals for that matter, but let's just stay with humans. There's nothing we depend upon that isn't just in decline, but is in precipitous free fall. I'll say more about these individually here in a few minutes. So if you Google Great Acceleration, you see all these charts. Socioeconomic trends on the left, everything's going up. Earth system trends, things are going up. And because of the way that emotions are and direction, we can look at this and we can think, wow, look, things are getting better, because we don't understand exponential charts. But on the left, those are ecocidal trends. And on the right, that's ecosystem collapse. This is like getting snapshots of collapse in motion. Here, there's even a book by Robert Colville called The Great Acceleration, how the world is getting faster, faster. And these, again, measures of the Anthropocene, that is, measures of the last 270 years. So here are the sources. You can check out New Scientist and Global Change in Earth System. As I mentioned before, on the left, you've got socioeconomic trends, but really, this is the cause of biosphere collapse. And on the right, it says Earth system trends, but it's our only life support system. So calling these things what they are, ecocidal trends and ecosystem collapse. And so in order to have this look the way it really is, I've turned it on its head. So here we have Gaia's health has been in decline for centuries and in runaway, unstoppable collapse for 2 to 7 decades. And this becomes obvious. It goes hockey stick around 1950. It's the Great Acceleration of biosphere collapse, everything we depend upon. For example, the Holocene, stability. What allowed for civilizations and the growing of grain at scale was a stability in the climate that we've already lost. We're now out of that. We're into a new era, a new regime. And that's carbon dioxide and methane and nitrous oxide. We've already lost that stability. Ice, we've lost basically the ice of the world. The Arctic sea ice, Antarctica, Greenland, mountain glaciers, obviously not overnight, not even in decades, but we'll most likely see an ice-free Arctic within this decade. Anyway, just ice, the loss of ice, is an extinction level, a potentially extinction level collapse. The oceans, the plankton, corals, the coral reefs, fish, ocean acidification, oceanic dead zones, the oxygen crisis, and sea level rise. We're looking at least 40 feet of sea level rise, no matter what, even if everybody went extinct tonight. The former president of the Jacques Cousteau Society, John Englander, says that we can expect at least 40 feet of increase. It's already unstoppable. Soil, the amount of soil, fertility of the soil, the moisture of the soil, permafrost, all this methane from the permafrost, which is again in unstoppable mode. And then the mass extinction. Only once in Earth's history have we lost the insects and the forests. And we're now expanding, we're now exuding more carbon dioxide at a faster rate, that is, than at that extinction. And then, as I mentioned, abrupt climate mayhem, not just abrupt climate change, but abrupt climate mayhem. 10,000 years of climate change in half a human lifetime. I got that language from Paul Beckwith. Paul Beckwith and meteorologist Nick Humphrey are two of my go-to people on abrupt climate change.